Hey, everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. This is coming to you on starting on the 26th, which is Saturday night, and I'll be finishing it up tomorrow. I thought I'd get ahead of myself because normally I'm getting it always late. So I thought I'd start out. I had some time this evening, so I thought I'd add to it. So we have a good episode today. First of all, for those of you who haven't seen my show before, welcome to the show. By the way, this is Javier in the air, like throwing it up in the air. This is not Javier on the air. This is Javier in the air. So if you do a Google search for Javier in the air, I'm still second, which I don't get how that works. If you search for Javier on the air, you get a what looks like a right wing website for somebody named Javier, which is kind of unusual, but that's their thing. But that's their thing. That's not my thing. So Javier in the air. I've had 3 people already ask me about it, and I'm like, well, if you look at their YouTube and you look at their site, you'll realize that it's 110% not me. So welcome to Javier in the air. Um, we have a great show for you. I have the Trashy Hood as we are wont to do here at Dark Frog Social Media. Also, I will be doing a bottom line. This one is going to be about adding a skill set, and I'll get to more about that when we get to the bottom line section of the show. And then we have a Zen moment as we try to get one going at least every episode. We don't always make it, but we try. And by the way, yes, I am talking in the third person. And then we will have spirits. We'll have a spirit time. So maybe I'll have a new spirit time opening intro, which maybe I will since I have time this evening. Maybe I can get it done before I end the show. Okay, so let's go to well, first of all, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope you didn't stuff yourselves too much with pie and punch and turkey and ham and gravy and casseroles and cranberry and this and that and the other. So I hope you did. You ate just the right amount, and if you had an unusual food or dish at your Thanksgiving celebration, let me know. I'd love to hear what some people have that other people's don't. Not unusual, but I had someone talk about their key lime pie because they're not a fan of pumpkin, which I'm not an overly fan of pumpkin either. And in fact, on my walk today, I actually saw someone had put out an entire pumpkin pie on the curb minus one little slice cut out of it. Now, I don't know if it was a sugar-free pie or what because there was no ants on it. Now, granted, it was cold and it had been raining, but there was absolutely no ants on it. And usually that's a sign to me that it's either sugar-free or they're using some sort of sugar substitute, which the ants know the difference and they won't go for that either. So, but if you had something like a key lime pie, and I remember growing up as a kid that my mother used to make a lemon meringue pie, which it's not rare, but you don't see that a lot because a lot of people just go for the old school pecan and pumpkin and that sort of thing, especially around here. But if you had something different, or you had a side dish or a main course that was different, let me know. I just like to hear from some of the audience as to what they're doing. Okay, so opening bit, I tried something a little different this time. This was called Epic Sci-Fi Trailer. So I just liked the way the music sounded, so I threw it in there. Let me know if you like it or not. I might just go back to the old royalty-free music that I have anyway. So let's go. Let's go ahead and start, and let's go to Trashy Hood. Hi, and welcome to Trash in the Hood. So, for those of you who may not know, I go around my neighborhood when I go out for walking, and I pick up trash in my neighborhood. It's just something that makes me feel good, and it also helps me to be accountable to myself for to get out and walk. So, this is week 19, day 3, which just means the third day of the week, not the third day of walking. Unfortunately. And you see here, I got some cigarette butts as usual. A bunch of this was crazy. There was a bunch of to-go containers for food, water bottles, a couple of White Claw, and some a glove, and the normal pieces of trash that I find around the neighborhood. Nothing too crazy, but there was a lot of it. A lot of food containers this day. This was Friday or day 5, and you see this time was crazy. It was another route, by the way, and there's some vape containers, empty poo bags. I don't pick up the full ones when I find them. Some socks, a hubcap cover, some more to-go items, mini bottle of wine and vodka, and of course the obligatory cigarette butts. And then just pieces of string and rubber and whatnot. And then finally this morning, this is day 6, and as you see, my 10 cigarette butts, and this time I found an unusually high amount of these tiny water bottles. I don't know if maybe the runners were out early this morning or what, but they were strewn all over Little Elm Trail. And some to-go containers and some crushed beer cans and soda cans and a lot of rubber and glass and screws and a pair of gloves. It was a really interesting day 6. So there you have it. Okay, so I've had a couple of questions about my trash in the hood from people. One of them is that I get a lot every couple of weeks. I get a lot because I also post this on Nextdoor.com. So if you follow me on Nextdoor.com and this is your first time watching this, you'll see some of the pictures that you're familiar with that I post on there. One of the questions I get asked a lot is that how do you determine your routes? Because it seems like a lot of the streets, some of the streets, are picked over and over and over again. Well, the thing about that is that I live off a Hickory Drive, so I have to have a starting point somewhere, and I don't normally drive anywhere to walk because I'm just walking the neighborhood, right? So I try to mix it up, but it's always going to be Hickory Drive. And then to get to a lot of places, it's going to be El Salito Parkway. And to get to a lot of places, it's going to be Hatch. And every now and then I'll do 620. But around my neighborhood, around my street, I should say, you're going to see a lot. If you're on Nextdoor.com, because I actually put the route there, you're going to see a lot of Red Bay, a lot of Loretta Wood, a lot of Black Cherry, because they're right there by me. A lot of Dagama, which is right there by the park right by me where the craft fair was. So I do that a lot because it's starting point for me, and I have to hit a lot of those streets and get to other streets. But be assured, I do get to a lot of different streets. So if you are curious as to what streets I hit, then I recommend you go to Nextdoor.com and check it out. If you're really, really interested and you're not on Nextdoor.com, or you're not in my neighborhood or a series of neighborhoods that are adjacent or associated with my neighborhood, then let me know and I can tell you some of the street names. But you should be able to figure it out by now. If I live on Hickory, then pretty much anywhere that goes about a mile to a mile and a half out, I have probably been on that street and then get back. I've even been on some of the cul-de-sacs, which, why do I do the cul-de-sac? Because it just goes in a big, like, light bulb shape. And sometimes there's trash there. So, I feel like I shouldn't just dismiss them out of hand because they don't go anywhere. Um, I have found some very interesting streets that I did not know about. I have lived here since 2014, and the past 20 weeks, 19 weeks, I think I've seen a lot of the streets that I've never gone down before. So I thought it was very cool that I'm walking these streets now. Plus, it's always good to know your neighborhood, not just the one street or two streets that are close to you, and not just the major streets that cross your street, but to know some of the side streets. Because if somebody ever asks for directions, or if somebody's lost and a child, and they know the name of the street, but they don't know anything else, then you'll be able to help them out. I know it's a weird scenario, probably won't happen in this day and age, but you never know. Okay, so another question I get is, how do I pick this up? Well, I have a couple of rules for myself, and thanks for asking, by the way. I have a couple of rules for myself. One of the rules is, I don't go onto people's yards. I don't go onto private property. I stay on public property. On the sidewalk, on the grass between the street and the sidewalk is considered public property. The street itself. Sometimes I'll grab a little bit of the trash that's on the driveway, like so that's on the end, kind of sticking into the street. I try not to be invasive or intrusive, and I never want to be invasive or intrusive. Sometimes there may be stuff in your yard, and I really want to pick it up, but chances are somebody at some point in the future, or I'm going to step on their yard and they're going to get upset. So the best thing to do is to just keep looking for trash that's in the public domain. So this also includes not picking up a lot of the trash that you see around the electric that PEC has over off a Little Elm Trail. I also try not to pick up stuff around the churches either, because I feel like they have a lot of individuals who go to said church and could always volunteer to pick up the trash there. Plus, I know they have a maintenance crew because I've seen them out there before, at least on two of the churches that I usually go by. And then I try to wear gloves when I can. I have a picker, which just broke this morning. It was crazy. I was trying to pick up something really heavy, I guess, and it had been going for a while. Like I couldn't close it, and I thought maybe I was losing my grip strength, but it wasn't that. It was broken on the inside, and I fully broke it today. So I got another one on the way, so don't worry. So I was using the picker to make sure I pick up everything that I can, using that so I don't have to come in physical contact with it. And then I don't pick up most organic material. Like if food, or if there's water or liquid inside a beverage cup, I'll pour it out using the picker. If there's food inside of a container, I will toss the food to the ground on the grass if there's grass nearby, because that will be eaten up by critters and varmints and ants and flies and all that, and they'll break down in a short period of time. I won't pick up full poo bags, as you heard in the voiceover. Shame on those who are leaving them. I will not pick up used prophylactics, and let's leave it at that. I won't go into that. You could always DM me if you really want to hear that story, which you probably do not. I also found a rat trap with half a rat in it. I'm not picking that up for health and safety concerns, no matter what I was wearing. I will not. I also ran across this week, which was really weird. Twice in two different routes, I ran across a full diaper, full in quotes. Why is it full? If you don't already can't figure out by now, I'm not going to tell. Again, if you really want to know, you can DM me, but I'm not picking it up. So nothing that's going to be harmful, that could be harmful to me, to my health and to my safety. So I will avoid that. Everything else is pretty much fair game. I do wash my hands twice after I put everything out here in the truck, which I use gloves, by the way, and I put everything out. I take a photo. Then I dispose of everything into the recycling. The cigarette butts I throw in the trash because they're not recyclable. Or at least I've been told they're not recyclable anymore. And then I go about my business. And sometimes I wash my hands twice because I just feel yucky. So this was a good. It was a good day. Unfortunately, a sad but good day. I found a lot of trash. So this was a week where I found a lot of trash, and that hubcap cover was the biggest, one of the biggest items of trash that I picked up during my 19 weeks. So one final question that people had is, why don't you go to other neighborhoods? And my answer to that is, because this is my neighborhood. I live here. I like to see my streets as clean as I can possibly do by helping out as much as I possibly can. I don't get out there every day, but the days I get out there, I pick up everything that I see, except for the ones that I mentioned, and it makes me feel a little bit good about cleaning up my neighborhood. If you are like me and you need something to hold you accountable to exercise, this is a great way to do it. If you're like me and you want to clean up your neighborhood, then this is a great way to do it. And if you're also bored and or retired and you're looking for something to do, this is a great thing to do, because you could always try to get people on Meetup, or you can get just people on Nextdoor and say, hey, I'm going to start it here and I'm going to end there. If anybody wants to go with me, we can walk and talk and pick up trash. I do so random that I usually go with either one or two people, or I go by myself, because I'll go early morning and I'll go just on a random route, whatever I feel like walking that day. So I don't really have a group. I'm not looking to form a group. However, if there is a group that gets formed and it's in my neighborhood, let me know, and maybe I would be nice to join y'all at one point or other. Okay, so that's it for Trash in the Hood. Now we're going to go ahead and go to our bottom line, because I want to get some of that. I want to get that out of the way so that we can get a nice and calming, peaceful Zen moment going into our spirit times. So let's take a look at our bottom line. This has to do with adding a skill set. Dark Frog Social Media presents Javier in the Air's The Bottom Line. Today's episode, adding a skill set, or you don't need a job. Hey, welcome to another bottom line. This one is talking about adding a skill set, or you don't need a job. So, I read an article this week talking about how the recession this time, or at least this recession so far, seems to be hitting the tech industry pretty hard. A lot of people thought the tech industry was kind of one of those bulletproof industries where you got a job and you always found a job, and that was always nice. But then during COVID, probably right before COVID, but definitely during COVID, and for sure after the COVID, even though we're not done with it, whole separate another discussion. We're finding, or the article was talking about how it's finding that the tech industry is beginning to kind of having an adjustment. So during COVID, tech employers were hiring a lot of employees, and so there was a lot of people getting hired in the tech industry, and they thought it was a grab bag. And come out of the quarantine part of COVID, let's put it that way, a lot of these individuals thought that they had the upper hand and were beginning to request higher salaries than normal, even though the tech industry already has a high salary per average overall. Or they were trying to force the hand of the employers by saying, I only will work remotely, I don't work in an office anymore, I don't want to commute, I'm not going to commute. If you want to keep me, you better listen to what I have to say. And for a while that worked. A very short while, unfortunately, for people in the tech industry who wanted all those things. So now, because of the... I don't want to say it's a recession, because it hasn't been labeled that, but thing is, what are labels these days anyways, right? So it's kind of recession-ish, or esque, however you want to put it. There's hard times. Let's put it that way. There's hard times coming. If they haven't already started, which I think they pretty much have. So now a lot of employers in the tech industry are like, haha, now the shoe's back on our foot, and we hired too many people, and so we're going to start laying off swaths of people. Amazon laid off about 10,000 people. Meta laid off about 10 to 12,000 people. In fact, they laid off at least 200. I think it was at least 200 jobs here in Austin. And of course, these are all tech corporate positions. They are not the bottom line people who handle anything or who have the other skill sets in for that industry or for that company corporation. So employers are happy again because now they think they have the upper hand again. However, so what they're doing is they're laying off a lot of people, and then they're trying to keep the people they do have. So this is a crazy time for people in the tech industry because again, like I said, I personally know a lot of people that were contractors in their 30s, and as they got into their 40s, they realized that they needed some stability, so they took on jobs that were considered more stable. I also do know some people that are 30 and under. Yes, I actually know them that are in the tech industry that still feel like they can just jump whenever they want and then they're going to get a job. Unfortunately, one of them is now caught in limbo, so to speak, because he needs to get a job, and it's very few and far between now. And it may have felt like it was very few and far between in the past, and I know I've felt that way before, but there were actually a lot of jobs out there depending on your skill set or what experience, just years experience. So sometimes even if you didn't have the right skill set, if you had the experience, you may get the job over somebody who has absolutely no experience. So the article goes on to say that hiring agencies, which I wish my friend could have been on the show today. She is a hiring manager, so I thought it would be interesting to try to get her on the show. I'll see if I can get her on the show in the future. Hiring managers and hiring agencies, like those that are called headhunters and those that are like staffing agencies and stuff like that, I feel have a disconnect between what they're trying to get done and what you as an individual need to do. So I have a couple of friends that are currently looking for a job in the tech industry. Both of them are developers. One of them is probably about 4 years experience or less, and one of them is about 15 years experience, plus or minus a year. So both of them have been approached by people, hiring agencies, staffing agencies, headhunters, saying that their resume is almost perfect. Their words, not mine. Almost perfect. And all they're missing is a particular skill that the industry is now looking for. I'm not going to go and break down all the different types of what skills that they could be looking for and all that, but they both, and these are different agencies, by the way. One of them was actually a headhunter, one of them was a staffing agency. They said, well, you're missing this particular skill set. Why don't you take the time to get the skill, and then we might be able to place you. So now here's the thing. They may not, the hiring agency has a job that they're trying to do. They're trying to fit this hole with someone and get a commission for doing that. So they want somebody who has all the bells and whistles, checks all the list of skills, so that they can just be like, here you go, and you get hired. And if you don't, and you're close, and you're one of the closer ones, they will tell you to go out and get this skill set. Now, here's the thing. Unless you have the financial means to take the time off to not be working while you're trying to get this skill set, then that's great. But they don't ask you that. They just tell you, go get this skill set, and we can probably get you a job. So my friend who's 15 years into the business, unfortunately, does not have a lot of savings, especially that from coming out of COVID and so on and so forth. And so he just doesn't have the ability to take what he said was like 4 to 6 weeks to get up to date on this skill set. with no guarantee that he's going to get the job, and no guarantee. And I know that even if you have that on your paper, on your resume, if they ask you, well, how long have you done it? Well, I just got certified with it. Which also, when you put on your resume, you have to put down the year of certification. So if you put down 2022, they're going to know that you just got it at minimum this year. So at minimum, you've only been certified for 10 months. So is that really going to help you? Chances are probably not, because there's probably someone out there that has that particular skill set that they're looking for that has been certified for quite a few years. Now, the other individual that I was talking about, my other friend who's been at it less, certainly doesn't have the financial means to be able to take off and take off a large amount of time. In fact, he's beginning to scramble right now as it is. So the problem comes in is these hiring and staffing agencies are telling people to, and this is what the article goes into. They're telling the article actually doesn't say anything about the other side. All they're saying is from the side of the hiring agency, staffing agency, blah blah, saying go out and get a skill set that you need to stay um, uh, prevalent in your industry. Doesn't say how are you going to do it. Doesn't say that a lot of these skill sets, yeah, there's free courses you can take, but usually the test itself is over $1,000. Usually the good courses, especially if it's a very unique skill set or it's a brand new skill set, can cost you thousands of dollars. And then it could take you weeks, if not longer, depending on how you're able to get the courses, how you take the courses, how you deal with handling homework on the courses, blah, blah, blah. So, the article didn't talk anything about how you go about getting that skill set. So that's why I'm like, you don't need a job. Just go out and get certified. And then you'll definitely, almost positively, kind of maybe, get a job. Maybe. So there is no guarantees in life. We all know this. And so getting a skill set doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get that particular job that they're talking about. You could even, I'm not saying you do this because, but we've all know those people that moonlight or try to get certification at night or even sometime during the day when they should be online doing their job if they work from home. So, that's a good way to do it. You keep your job and you add to that skill set. Ideally, you might want to try to incorporate that skill into your current job, and then maybe you can get certified that way, and then you won't even have to look for another job. You can have that. That's if you have a job. For those of you that don't have a job, the question really boils down to, can I afford to take the time off to get this skill set? And that I can't answer. That's something that you have to actually question yourself and answer yourself and see if you can do it. So the bottom line is should you get a skill set or should you get a job? And it really is, again, I hate to be this way because I've been doing this for a lot of the bottom lines, but it really is, if you have a job and you want to add a skill set, that is the best way to do it. If you don't have a job, you may not be able to afford to add a skill set, which is a bad catch-22. Without the skill set, you can't get a job, but to get the job, you need the skill set. So it really is a matter of perspective, and I hope that you would be able to get the skill set while still working a job or being able to afford to financially support yourself and whoever was with you. And that's the bottom line. Okay, that was Bottom Line. So I've been getting some good reviews for Bottom Line, and I appreciate it, and thank you. If you want to see a subject on Bottom Line, and it's something that's of real interest or note, and you even have articles that you could send me the links to, by all means, just drop me a message however you can, either through my YouTube channel, Javier in the Air, not on the air, in the air, Or you can reach me on my Facebook page, or you can reach me through Instagram or Twitter, though I don't think I'll be keeping that for very long for obvious reasons. And just let me know what you'd like to see on here. I'll pretty much talk about anything. And if you'd like to be on the show, you have a mom and pop organization, or you have something that you're passionate about, remember the two that aren't allowed on the show because there's too many of that out there in the world already. So we'll talk about just about everything else, though. Or you have some neat thing, or whatever, anything, just about anything I'll put on the show. If you're not local to me in the Cedar Park area, or somewhere that I can get to in a reasonable amount of time, then we can certainly get onto a Zoom call and we can record it that way. I did a lot of those in my first season, especially because it was during lockdown, and I had a lot of interviews with people, and it turned out to be very good. So, now what we're going to do is, oh, by the way, I also had some questions about my shiftiness, as I was told, where my eyes kind of are all over the place. So, what I found, the problem that I found is that where the best place that I could put the camera, at least for now, was right here, right above my monitor, and it's quite a large monitor, and I cannot get my seat any higher. So I'm having to look at an angle, a little bit of an angle above optimal range, but I have a tendency to forget it's up there, and I have a tendency to look around, and so some people are like, "Why do you look kind of shifty, like you're lying, or there's a bunch of stuff going on?" There's nothing going on around me. My eyes tend to wander around, and I'm all over the place. So I try my best to keep my eye on the camera, but it doesn't always happen. But thanks for the question, though. That was a great question. And as I look back at some of the other episodes, I notice that I do look a little shifty. All I need is that curled mustache that I can like snidely and be evil. So. Okay, so we got through the trash in the hood. We got through the bottom line. And for those of you who haven't been, is this your first time? I hope you enjoyed it so far. Now we're going to go into Zen moment. So the Zen moment is reminiscent of Moment of Zen that Jon Stewart used to do on his show, except it has nothing to do with political or anything like that. It's just a nice, calming break in the middle of the show. I hope you enjoyed. Some of those are. I have some new and older poems rehashed by Jay Anderson, and he's a poet that I enjoy thoroughly. Some of them will just have music in the background. Some of them will have both, and some of them are a lot. Actually, a lot of them are from around my area. I will get some stock footage sometimes if I run across something that's really, I think, is really of note. And really ties into the poem, or the poem ties into the music. It just kind of goes either way. So let's take a look at the latest Zen moment. Into the sky I cry, as I lay down in the soft grass by the field. I look out into that sky, a feeling of calmness, of patience, of perseverance fills me. Into the sky I cry, goes all my anger and injustice and hate. For looking out into that sky, my eye is never dry. Okay, and there you have it. The new. How do you like the new intro for the Zen moment? I came across it just now, and I thought it would be interesting to put up there. So, unfortunately, I like to, for everyone who's new, again, welcome to Javier in the Air, not on the air, in the air. For those of you that are new, I like to try to keep my podcast nowadays to less than 35, 40 minutes. And I'm already pushing that mark, so I want to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put off Spirit Times this week, and we'll have a Spirit Time next week for it. And hopefully you'll be back so that you can see it. For those of you who have been watching my show over the seasons, thank you very much for continuing to watch. I hope I am keeping you interested. I know there's a lot you can watch on YouTube and on the internet and on TV, so I hope you take a little bit of time and watch me. So if you have any comments or complaints or questions or concerns or clothing suggestions, thanks, Ma. By all means, just reach out to me and let me know. I hope that you have a good week. We're coming off of Thanksgiving, so I hope everyone will be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for day one of the week on Monday. For those of you that still go to work, for those of you that are retired, enjoy it. And we have a couple of good items coming up in the month of December for myself, having a tasting again. This one will be basically Christmas cocktails slash white elephant gift. So those of you who are making it, who will be doing cocktails, we will also be doing a white elephant gift giveaway. So that's interesting. I have Christmas coming up and a bunch of other items as well. So we'll see. It's a busy schedule, especially in December for everyone. So I hope you have a good first day back from Thanksgiving when you go to work. And I will see you all again next week. Thanks a lot.